guys? How you guys doing? I know I was just on here a few hours ago, but wanted to give you guys another little update before I go try to get some sleep today. Yeah, and there's a few things going on here, guys. We've had a couple Cme'S since I've talked to you last. Kind of nuts. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and show you the last 7 days on the sun. It'll help people get a really good perspective on what I'm talking about when we say things are on the rise here. Hi Donna, how you doing? Carol, Sherry Boo, beat E-Rock in here, didn't you? You beat him up in here, didn't you? What's up, E-Rock, Sherry Boo? Deb from up above, Deb from above, Debbie. Wow. King Kong, you mean to tell me you was able to get that name? Wow. Let me tell you something. That's a pretty, I would have thought that name would have been taken. I tell you, get lucky sometimes, I guess. Anne-Marie, Brad B, Brittany Nebula, Heaven's Gym 7, Skywatcher. Guys, I have to say this again. I wish I could make all of you guys, moderators. I really do. It's almost like, if I could give you guys all of that, because you don't really have to get on a whole lot of people. The mods do a really good job of, taking care of the very few issues that we have in the chat. And the reason why we have just very few issues is because we handle it right, and you guys are cool. You guys are able to disagree and not get so personal or so worked up that you don't go off and all that kind of stuff. Hey, George, what's up, bud? Yeah, I'm back on, guys, just so you didn't know. I was just on a few hours ago. But there is stuff going on, so I am going to try to give you guys a little bit of an update. So here we go. And plus, I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter than the last one. That way, people can get a good idea of what's happening without having to watch a five-hour video. Okay, so... guys, please take care of the chat in there for me. Hey, Farkas, what's up? Jasmine, Skywatch 33, Takia, and then to how you say that one? To Luca, maybe, I guess. But anyway, guys, Leaston, what's up? Thanks, Leaston. Appreciate that. So we are going to go ahead and get into this. I'm going to put the chat away so I don't get distracted. I'll check on you guys here in a few minutes. But again, guys, the Schumann here, it's just pretty normal. This is our new norm. You see how we're having spikes, but they're not long-lived. But they're pretty intense, I have to say. I mean, we're getting spikes. So, the overall, and what we look for, guys, is the 783 Hz. It's right here. Most of us already know that, but if you don't feel bad, because this is something that we weren't taught as we were growing up, and it should have been. This should be in every textbook that we have. I'm sure it's in some, but let me tell you something, guys. It's frequency, and everything is frequency. Everything is touched by frequency, so everything affects the frequency, and the frequency affects everything else. So, it's kind of one of those things. But with that being said, it's not really all that much going on here, guys. The 783 is what we look for. It's there. That's why that big solid line is. And I have to say that this looks more, reminiscent of what it looked like 4 or 5 years ago. We're not seeing the overall uptick in frequency right now, like the overall rise. Now, this is a regional tool. We have to take that in consideration. We have a little bit, but this has really tamed down quite a bit in the past 3 months. Kind of odd. Okay, so I'm going to save that for a minute. We'll go back to that in a second. Now, if you watched my last stream a few hours ago, I was showing you guys how we had this little appendage kind of pop up. It was a little itty-bitty flare. But notice how we had a pretty steady increase up just a little bit. Now, if you follow that straight across, you're at a high B, if not a really low C flare class base level. That means we're getting really, a lot of X-ray right now, just overall. then it doesn't take any but just a small little flash extra after that to get you into some decent sized flares. And that's what we're seeing. And, you know, so far we've gotten, you know, these C4s, maybe a C5 here and there, class flare. And what that does is it ionizes the atmosphere, and it causes radio blackouts. It doesn't last very long typically, unless it's a really, really strong one. But that's the initial effect when it hits our atmosphere. Usually, you know, we lose our communications with radio. It just kind of blacks out for a few minutes, and it'll come back on, you know. It's just not real good for propagation. Ham radio operators know all about that, let me tell you. And it really affects them. First responders use that, okay? That's why, you know, it's really important to have that kind of a thing. And this is why I think it's important to report on space weather quite often, because, you know, they're starting to look at this stuff. So if they get on, you know, look at this stuff when they start having issues and they see that we're having solar flares or increased X-ray, they know they may have to go down a different avenue to communicate, such as GPS, cell phones, and stuff like that. So it does help. The geomagnetic activity, remember I said I was waiting to see what the next bar was, and it stayed up there. Okay, so we've got some geomagnetic activity going on right now. Now I would consider this just kind of like active conditions. If we get to a 4, that would be like very active. Then obviously anything above a 4 is actually storm level. Will we get there? Don't know, you know. Okay, first look at the sun here. Big sunspots that we've been talking about. We'll go into that a little bit more deeper too. Sunspot here. Now this one here, guys, has got me kind of on edge. It hasn't, well, it looks like it may have just now crusted the limb. We can kind of see the base of it now. This thing fired a CME a few hours back, and I think it was still off the side. Okay, I don't think it was actually Earth facing yet, or on the front side disc here. And no, I'm not calling the sun a disc. It just looks like a disc from this angle. It's two-dimensional. They call it the disc. Okay, if there ain't any sunspots on it, they'll call it a blank disc. That's where the vocabulary comes from. But anyway, now as this thing is facing us, it's going to go across, right? So this is when we got to watch. Wow, we got all this, and then look here, another one. So we got a potential to have 4 or 5 sunspots facing us all at one time. And I can't even remember the last time I seen that happen. Here, and you give you an idea. Look how big that sunspot is. That's a big one, guys. That's a very healthy looking sunspot, even for like a solar maximum. That it really is. That thing would be holding its own against some other sunspots during solar maximum. You know, so we got this one over here, we got this one here, and we got this one here. Now you're probably asking, well, what about these? These are actually considered the same grouping. So, you know, when the opposite polarities get close to each other, they like to, you know, basically short out, and it messes up that magnetic connection, and that's when we get CMEs and stuff, flares, all of it. So, ACE data. BZ still popping in and out of negative. Looks like the triangle may have flipped its polarity here also. This is the typical line of sight blackout from the satellite. We don't, you know, we expect to see this at these times when it blocks out like this. Okay? It's not something that's out of the ordinary. Solar wind speed, still kind of nominal. It's not that high. It's not even getting to 500. So, it's just right in the middle. Now, the density itself, it's hanging right around 7, 8. Might tick up to 10 once in a while. Again, very normal. Temperature the same. Enlil model, this is where it starts changing. Okay? We'll hit play here, and I'm gonna pause it. Remember, it shows us 2 days historic data, and then which would put us about right here in time, and then it tries to predict 5 days out in advance. The green line's condition at Earth. Red line is stereo A, which is over here. Earth, stereo A. And I think stereo A is like 32 days behind us. Something like that. It might be more than that, but it's done in time. So when we're orbiting around the sun, so is stereo A. But stereo A will not make it to this position for another 30 or so days. That's how we know the distance there, okay? But that is, that's how they look at that. Now, when we look at this, guys, I don't trust this thing out here. We know this. More data is going to come in. This is going to change some. The thing is, how close is this to accuracy? And it becomes a crapshoot at some point. But it takes about, 3 to 5 days for a CME to get here. This is 3 to 5 days out. So there was probably some sort of a CME or an ejection, maybe a coronal hole that was letting charged particles blow out towards us, and it's already on its way. That's why it's picked this up. Notice the range here. I know this looks kind of crazy, like it might be really, really variable, fluctuating a lot. But the range, look at the range. That's really low for velocity, for a range on this model. It's usually between, right before this happened, it was reading 0 to 700. So I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, if you go down through here, watch this side view model here. Watch the waves just come in right at us. Okay, so we got this coming, even after that. Whatever that is. Now the aurora, this is one of those things that's like, yes, we know we're getting geomagnetism now. Look at this. And notice how I've been showing you guys on the Magnetosphere models. Let's see here, which one? These right here. The egg shape. Here on the pressure. Well, guess what? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I just did that. Hold on a minute. Sorry. That was ridiculously stupid. But look, even the aurora is showing up egg-shaped because we're getting pressure on both sides. That's what's doing that. Here's the absorption rate. This is showing us X-ray and how it's absorbed. Again, this is basically a flare. When you see this kind of stuff, it's X-ray, but when we get big flares, this is how it shows up. And when it does its thing, when it hits, okay, it hit right there, right? And you can see how it kind of radiates out and how we kind of absorb it. So anything below that, wherever that's at, has a chance of having some sort of radio issues. Okay, that's why I show it to you. Okay, Magnetosphere models. Play these real quick. Notice again, this is kind of directional. Things will happen on one side and not the other. And it really should be happening very similar, very symmetrically, because the sun's over here. And when it leaves the sun, it kind of does spread out and become a little bit more even of a hit. Unless, like I said, unless it is compacted for whatever reason. But we're seeing this little area down here. I've been talking about this for over a month now. Something's going on here. Inside our magnetopause, right here in this position. I can't figure it out yet, but something's happening here. At least it seems to be. I'll push play on this one, and what you're going to see here is watch the density just kind of like circle around our planet and go that way, towards the sun. You got to ask yourself, well, what out there is powerful enough to push against the solar wind like that? See how it was all doing that, moving from like right here that way? See that? It shouldn't be doing that, really. I mean, that is inside our bow shock, so our bow shock is kind of deflecting some of that stuff from the sun, but still. Now, if we go down here, look at the pressure. Obviously, we understand pressure pretty much immediate, right? More of it can cause earthquakes. Less of it actually can cause more earthquakes too, because we're still pushing out. We got to have a constant flow of pressure to really stay stable. Let me grab this and take you back here. So you watch this right here. That's forward, forward. See how it's going against that, you know, the grain there, I guess, if you want to use that terminology. Also notice over here, look, right about in half. There's no pressure here, but there is down here. That's because we're tilted. Our magnetics have been tilted right here. And they do that sometimes, but this is pretty significant. Especially when it looks like we might get hit this way, and then it shoots that way. See that? It's not a massive, you know, ejection there, but it is something. Australian model, it's going to bounce around. Again, this is the most simple one we look at. There you go, right there. That's the density. That's the speed. There's the BZ. We look for it when it goes into the negative. That's when it's the most dangerous for us. It's staying in the negative right now pretty good. So, geoelectric field model. Take a look at that real quick. Again, you're going to see this thing act up just a little bit, because we are taking some geomagnetic hits right here. Okay, so we're going to go back here to ISWA, all right? And put this over here. Okay. I'm going to update that so we get the most updated info here. And I'm going to see if I can't find these CMEs that just popped off. There's the first one, obviously, okay? I already showed you guys that one earlier. I think it was right over here, guys, or up there, one or the other. Hard to tell. But we did have one shoot off that direction. Now, this bigger one that I was just showing you here at the beginning of the time lapse, up here, this is that spot that's now facing us. It's on the Earth-facing side, or close, really, really close. But watch what happens. Okay, you see that CME right there, right? That thing's getting ready to rotate in front of us, so we're going to have to pay attention. It'll be in front of us for over a week, just so you know, along with all these other sunspots. So conditions are kind of going that direction. We'll look at this Magnetosphere model just real quick. Let me update these things. The sun's off to the right on these, okay? Wow. That definitely is getting hit, guys. I mean, it's moving around. Yeah. That's some hitting going on there. It's amazing that we're not in any kind of bigger geomagnetic issues right now. When I see that kind of stuff, usually we're in a little bit more of an issue when we see the magnetopods react like that. Not much going on here either. I mean, we see those wrapped up lines quite a bit. Wow. Okay, well, let's look at this one real quick. Notice this. I mean, we don't see this very often, okay? Usually this stays blue, whether it be light, dark, or in the middle. But this green that's right in the middle of it, traveling with it, doesn't typically happen. So it looks as though things are really actually kind of, I don't know, it's kind of normal, except for that. And the backwards pressure that, yeah, I'm not even going to go into that. That's a big subject, believe me. Okay, so let's go back here to seeds and let me show you what I'm going to do. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. Let's start back on, well, let's start back on the 20th. You guys remember this, right? We got the 2 rapid fire ones here. Watch, boom, boom. Then the 3rd. That's 3 CMEs one day. We're going to count these things, okay? That's 3 CMEs in one day. Next day. Okay, now see, this is where I start having an issue. And let me explain to you why. If you look right here, you can see how we have something there that's actually pushing plasma back to the sun. It's happening right there. Okay, it starts right there. See how it kind of moved back? Now, sometimes that's an optical illusion. Other times it's not. But we're having to do it in the same spot over and over and over again now. So, but anyway, let's move on from that. We had 3, now we got 4 CMEs right there. Let's go the next day. Okay, there's the one we called kind of like a 3/4 halo. That makes 5. And I'm being generous here. I could probably throw a couple more in there, but I'm not. That's 5. Then we got 6. Okay, again, looks like we got energy flowing back to the sun right here. Okay, so we're at 6, right? Go the next day. There's the big one, right? The halo. But keep in mind, we had 1, 2, and then 3 that day. So that makes 9 CMEs that we've seen. Go the next day, 25th. We had, like, I'm going to call it 1 that happened down here because it wasn't part of the other stuff. So that makes 10. But remember here's that energy again. Days and days in a row now in the same spot. Stuff starting to appear and go back towards the sun. Really strange. Now we've seen plasma and stuff go back. I mean, that does happen, but that's a pretty long distance. So the 26th here. Do we see anything today? Not yet, until we go to the 27th, where, because this stops on the 19th, on 1900 hours. If we go here, we automatically got 1. Boom. That's 11, and then we got another one that popped off over here. 12. That's 12 CMEs in a week. That's your last 7 days on the sun. So if somebody's trying to tell you that the sun is not acting up right now, I just showed you exactly the opposite of that. You know, and again, I haven't seen this kind of activity in a long time. I do not think we're going to slow down with this. I really think this is going to continue. We're not going to see any kind of really slow conditions, except for, you know, off and on sometimes during any sun cycle. It'll get quieter than others. But I don't think we're going to go back to a blank disk again anytime soon. They're talking about it here too. Look at these are the sunspots that they're showing here. Okay, they're still talking about the cannonballs of light, those green ones. 18 fireballs again. Let's see if it's added anything here. Nope. So things are kind of normal there. Well, earthquakes. I'm going to reset that, see what we got. Notice that the majorities we're looking at right here, these are all almost the same exact size. 4, 5 to 5. You know, it's kind of, it's pretty uniform, guys. Look at that. Got one down here. That's probably like a 5. Yep, that's a 5-1. So if we add the other ones in here, all magnitudes, obviously we get a little bit more. But notice nothing kind of over here right now. And when we're getting, you know, space weather, we'll look at this one. Wow. We don't often see them right there on the border. That's a 2-3 right there at the, wow. I think this is Idaho. That was a 3-5, yeah. And again, this is probably fracking operations. But anyway, overall, it doesn't look like we've had that many earthquakes here. So what does that mean? Well, it can mean that pressure's building, and once it releases, it'll be a bigger quake. Or it could just mean that stuff's moving around. We just haven't had one. But typically, that's not the case. Typically, we see, you know, pressure. Now, here is the earthquakes over here in Canada. Not much talk about here either, other than the normal stuff that we're seeing. Okay. So, you know, guys, I don't know what else to say about the uptick in the activity of the sun, other than, you know, we know this is going to happen. We get this, right? But at the same time, it's happening faster than what we thought. So, you know, it's just kind of crazy. You guys got any questions or anything for me? I just wanted to give you an update on that before, you know, like I said, just so we know. Will that CME on the 27th hit Earth? I can't give you an answer on that yet. Okay, so let's do this real quick. That's a good question. Let's go to the CME tracker and we'll see if it's done any updates. It has not. Okay, but we can see if it's coming at us, and I've shown you guys this, you know, multiple times before, how I do this. Now, if we look at this, we know this is our view, right? We're here and the satellite's right in front of us, so this is our view. This is a two-dimensional model, so anything that goes to the left, it could be going directly to the left, or it could be actually going back this way, or it could be going this way. Right? And it's still going to look the same. That would not change, even if it, you know, the angle of it was really kind of bringing it closer to us or away from us. So how do we decide that? Well, what we need to do is we need to get a view from the side, so we can get two different points of reference, and it changes our perspective. So let me explain. You got right here is where the satellite's at right now. It's going to the left. So if we go to stereo A, that there on the end right here was that CME. Or no, it was this one. I'm sorry. This is the one that looked like it was blowing to the right. Okay? So that one there, I guess, could theoretically still be coming at us, but I don't think it is. But this right here is that bigger one. So now that this is showing it going to the left, and we're looking at it from the side, if we go back to the one where we're looking at it dead on, it's going to the left too. So this thing is definitely not coming at us. It would be more so moving this direction. And that makes sense because if you look at the sun, where it happened up here, right? So that blew that direction. So I don't think it's going to hit us. Hopefully you guys understood that, but you guys got any other questions here for me real quick? Cool. Thanks, Lady Fresh. Thanks, Lady Fisher. Appreciate that. Cool. Thanks, Lisa. I try to help out, guys, and I really do. I try to answer the questions. Hey, MJ Mama, how you doing? And I know I don't have all the answers. I'm not even close. And that's why I get a little bit kind of, I don't want to say I get down, but I get a little bit disappointed, I guess, in how people want to say they have all the answers and stuff. And it's just not. Yeah. Even if I knew 100% that I had the complete absolute truth, okay, I still would not come out here and say that I'm the only one with any answers. If you're watching whatever, this, that, and the other, it's whatever, So, that's what I would say to that, because it's important to keep our humbleness at least at some level. Because if you come out and you just start calling people names and you start getting really, really hateful directly at other channel creators and people that are watching your show and that kind of thing, if they see you have no humbleness about you at all, they're not going to listen to your truth. You see what I'm getting at? So who are you helping? If what you started off to do was to help, if that was your true intention, then what are you doing saying you're the only one that has the answers? I don't get it. Nobody's going to listen to somebody that says that. I just don't understand it. And I guess maybe that's just because it's my personality and that's where I'm at. I understand confidence, okay? I do. But there's a fine line between being confident and arrogant. And once you cross that line, don't think that people can't see right through it, because they can. Every one of you guys in here know when you see that happening. You know when somebody's being egotistical. You know when somebody's being over the top. And, especially when they go from telling everybody to have an open mind, and then all of a sudden turning on a dime, saying they're the only ones that got the answers. So close your mind to everything else but what I'm saying. It does not get any more hypocritical than that. And the only reason why I bring it up is because I care about you guys. I can listen, I don't listen to that crap. I can listen to it and I know what they're saying. Okay? But I don't want you guys to, see that and think that whatever. I mean, I probably don't even need to say any of this. Because you guys are smart enough, you probably don't even need me to say it. But hopefully, the people that are doing that, hopefully they'll get the idea here. And if they really want to spread their truth, they're going to have to back off some and quit saying that kind of stuff. I mean, just throwing people channels and everything else, and just throwing people under the bus left, right, and here and up and down, whatever. It's not gonna propagate your message at all. For nothing. Nobody will listen to it. Mama J, what's up? Sorry, I know I kind of went off here on a rant there. December 21st, winter solstice and planetary alignment. I know that's the winter solstice. Did not know about a planetary alignment on that day, but we can look at that. I'll research that a little bit. Do clouds offer any protection? Yes, they do. Okay. Let me explain. What most of us know that clouds are moisture, right? The way I look at it and the way that I understand it is that, one of the biggest things that they can use and why they can't use it as much as they want is because the weight of it is water to protect you from radiation. So if they were able to somehow put water on a spacecraft, it would definitely, block a lot of the radiation. It would really be the best thing that they could do. But the weight of it, I think, is a big problem for them. Not sure if that's actually how that, if that's really what the biggest issue is, but yeah, MJ Mama, for real. That's, oftentimes I think a lot of us have actually sat here and wondered, are they doing that? Are they doing the spraying? Are they doing that for a good thing or a bad thing or both? I've kind of, went to the both, to be honest with you. I think at some level they're doing it to protect themselves, but the side effect is they're actually protecting us at the same time. But that's not their goal. They just want to protect themselves. I think that's more of what we see. And I think that they use it for a lot of different things. Hiding stuff and all that kind of stuff. What else was the planetary alignment thing? Who was saying something? Iraq. People are saying December 21st, the Earth will end. So be prepared, people, for people flipping out. I'll address that end of Earth thing. Guys, I think that, we hear that so much. And there's just, you can't prove anything like that. So when somebody says it's going to be the end of the Earth, I just kind of chuckle anymore. I really do. And unfortunately, you get people out there that don't know no better. It doesn't make them stupid, okay? They may be a little bit gullible, but maybe it's the first time being exposed to this kind of information. You just don't know. And, but I will say this. You really need to be able to, I don't know how to put this. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I guess the best thing to do, if you come across new information, that you need to research it. And if you think it's that serious, you need to research it as hard as you can. Yeah, you're right. Rhonda. Is the moon floating away? Guys, I don't know that. I don't know. I have not done any research on that. I know that, what did they say? It has a natural, I think is it going away from us like a fraction of an inch each year or something? Don't they have a laser up there? You guys, yeah, MJ Mama, that's another thing. I don't know. All I can do is show you, articles and what other people have done and researched. I can't do anything more than that. I just simply don't have the answer to that. Yeah, I heard about the conjunction part of it, but I'm not really sure exactly why they think the world's going to end on that one. Oh, yeah, I remember that. The 2012 thing that they're talking about there, guys, when the Mayan calendar ended, remember everybody was freaking out over that? Well, if you really research that, 2020 is really where that date fell. The way that they did their calendars, it wasn't the same way we do. So if you really do it how they did it, their actual date for the Mayan calendar ending would be this year. But, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of different... Yeah, Enlightened One, he's got a lot of, how can I put this? Eccentric, you know, eccentric videos that he does. I don't, you know, like I said, I've, actually, he he used a part of my video once. That's been a way long time ago. And he actually had the big Kool-Aid man busting through the wall and stuff. It was kind of funny. He cracks me up. He really does. He's a funny dude, that's for sure. Whether you believe what he's saying or not, you know, I'm not going to tell anybody what to believe on that. You know, I would, like I said before, everybody needs to listen to everybody and decide for themselves and pick the truth out where they can find it. So, you know, I think all of us have some of it. I really do. And I think at some level, we all have to try to do our best to go down the rabbit hole, but don't go down so far you forget where you came from. How did I? I explained at the end of my last video. I'll do it again real quick. When I first got on the internet, obviously most of us had like an AOL email account. You know, you got mail, that kind of thing. I was coming up with my name and I was typing in there. I was like, well, when I used to weigh 500 pounds, a little bit more actually. And when I would wear a red sweatshirt, I said I looked like the Kool-Aid man. So that's where Kool-Aid man came up with, but I tried to use that and somebody already had it. So I just changed it to blue Kool-Aid. I don't weigh that much anymore, guys. I had bariatric surgery a few years back. I lost over 200 pounds, so. Yeah, Skywatcher, you know, you that statement right there should be ringing through everybody's head right now. It is so confusing. You can take that simple statement that Skywatcher just said right there and apply it to every subject going around right now, and you're going to find that all of it is so confusing. And that's where they won. That's where they win, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get us confused so much that we don't know what's right, wrong, good, bad, all of it. They know what's right and wrong. They know what's going on. So, you know, that is what it is. So, yeah. Yep. So, I just think that's the best thing that we can do, is we can just try to pick through the theories that we see, pick through the data that we can go look at, and try to figure out what's actually going on. And, you know, and listen to the people that you think yourself that are genuine in what they're saying. Okay? And if somebody wants you to close your mind off to everything but what they're saying, please be cautioned, okay? I don't want anybody that I care about, which is everybody that's watching my channel, to fall into that category. That they went somewhere, somebody said they're the only ones that had the answers, they buy into that, and all that does is it actually sows division, because they can't come off of what they just said. Now they got to back up what they just said. If you come out and say you're the only one that has the answers, even if you find a different truth somewhere down the road, you can't come out and say it. You've screwed yourself. You can't do it. And that's the danger. That is the danger of saying stuff like that. Number one, you're not gonna find anything new after that anyway, because you think you've already found all the answers. And I've said that a lot lately, but I truly believe that. And I won't be a part of anybody that says that they're the only ones that can have any kind of input on what's going on. So please be cautioned when you're around that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate because a lot of the people that are doing that are the ones that wanted you to have an open mind and were preaching that from day one. And now they don't want you to have an open mind but to what they have to say. It's one of the biggest hypocritical things I've seen in a long time. Yeah, we had 2 more CMEs, Anima. I showed it to you guys a few minutes ago. Here, I'll show it to you again real quick. We'll go over here to seeds real quick, and I'll show it to you, and then we're going to get off of here, okay? Let's, here? Yeah, there it is. There's one of them, and then there's the other one. Do I think any of them are going to hit us? I don't know yet. This one, maybe. I doubt it. This one here looks like it might be going off to the right too. So I don't know yet. We have to wait on the CME tracker. So, yeah, I went back through and showed 7 days, Anima. So if you rewind and go watch the video from about 5 minutes in, you'll see where I went through the last week of the sun activity. And I'm telling you, what did we figure out, guys? It was like 12 CMEs in 7 days. So, yeah. Yeah, Eric, I'm with you. Okay? I really do. I really am. That is something I really buy into. Full-fledged, I buy into that. I love other points of view. I really get a little disheartened, though, guys, when I see people that I thought weren't like that. And then now they are. I for the life of me, I can't understand it. Because you don't have to come out and say you're the only one with truth to be able to get your truth out. And then when you sit there and you blame YouTube for everything, that's the other thing that bothers me too. How can we be so arrogant to think that they're watching what I'm doing or they're watching what everybody else is doing, so much so that everything that we do is getting suppressed? That's not the truth. That is not the truth. Yes, they do suppress us, okay? I get that. But at the same time, they're not doing it to the level to most people that they claim that they are. They're just not. You can see it. I'm not going to go into, what's actually going on there, but that's where I'll leave it because we all fight the censorship, every one of us. But what I've realized is it's not just in our genre. That's the thing. If it was just in our genre, then I might be able to buy into that. But it's not. It's across the board. In every subject, there's somebody there saying that they're getting targeted and they're getting, censored this and censored that. And unfortunately, what they got to realize, and eventually they will realize this, that they don't have to say it. Their subscribers are going to get sick and tired of hearing them say that. Because essentially, and excuse my language here, but it's just them bitching. That's all that it is. Nobody is forcing anybody to be here on this platform. They're not. It's their choice. So if you choose to stay, I've been targeted myself before with censorship. Everybody has. I hate it. I wish there was a better platform to go to. I really do. Where we could say what we need to say without worry of getting our videos stuck in a basement somewhere. You know what I mean? And those that monetize their channel, which I don't do that, so I don't have to consider that. But those that are actually doing it for their job, they really have to watch what they say, or their video, it might not get pulled down, but it'll be demonetized. And that's their livelihood. That's where the problem is. You know, it really is. Those people are the ones that should be complaining. And sometimes it's not those people. So, you know, I get it. I really do think that, you know, there is a lot of channels out there that get censored, that get beat down. Okay? They do. But eventually, you got to just quit saying it and just move on. And go on with your videos. Do the best you can. I promise you that if you can get a good sub base like what I have with good people, you're going to be okay. I just don't, you know, everybody needs help when they first get started out on this platform, okay? I had it. Anybody else that has had any growth at all. And that is one of the main reasons why I keep showing you guys Mark Pyre's channel. He's a great guy. He's got great content. And yes, he's one of the guys that they probably had stuck in a basement. Okay? But I wasn't going to, you know, if I could help it, I wasn't going to let it stay that way. Because I seen the message that he was saying. And that goes back to what I've been talking about for a long time. We got to support each other. And I'm not going to support somebody that's going to be so arrogant to think that they're the only ones that has the answers. I will not push people that direction. It's not going to happen. You know? And I think that we've lit a fire for Mark Pyres. I really do. Last night was a good example of that. Let me explain. He was able to hold 40 people in his chat for multiple hours, and I wasn't able to make it over there last night. So it wasn't me giving him a love bomb. What that was the people that we have taken over there are not always coming from my channel. And that's a great thing. That's the goal. It's going to grow on its own now. Yes, I'm still going to help every chance I get. Okay? But people like his content, and I knew that they would. It's a positive thing. And that's why I did what I did, and I'm still doing it. I would have done it last night. But we were doing family stuff, and that's more important. So I got on here late. That's all that was. Would we have had more viewers over there if we'd have done a love bomb at the normal time? Of course we would have. But the fact that he was having 1 or 2 viewers for hundreds of days, and now he's getting, anywhere between 40, 80. We had over 100 the other day in the chat at one time. There's been 12, Taylor, from what we counted. Yeah, Marfugal. See, Marfugal helped me out too. He shouted me out. It takes that. And I try to reciprocate that for everybody else. I really do. Hope you guys understand that. I truly believe in what Mark preaches. I really do. Okay? We got people in here like Hilly, too. Hilly, he does a great job. Obviously, I push people over to Scott. He knows what he's talking about. Okay? I mean, that's why. These people are my friends, number one. Number two, they got good content. Okay? I wouldn't know half the stuff I know at all. And, you know, Scott really showed me a lot of stuff. Guys, I know I've been getting a lot of emails and stuff. They're asking where Scott's at. Listen, Scott has to take care of life also. YouTube is no longer just is his job. Okay? He's trying, he would love for it to go back to that, but he doesn't think it's going to. He's having to take care of his sick wife, and he's running a restaurant. Okay? That's where that's at. Has nothing else to do with that. He's still watching stuff every day. He just hasn't had a chance to post a video. Not very often. I wish he could. You know, I feel bad that he has to go through that. But, you know, that's where he's at. So when you guys are asking me that, and it's a great question, I'm glad you do ask me. Because, let me tell you something. He knows you guys care. Planet X News, Taylor. That's who Scott is. So just know that, guys. And, you know, again, I have to say, there's a fine line of being... You can even be a little egotistical, but don't say you're the only one that has all the answers, or any of the answers, and everybody else is talking anything else is stupid. So when you do that, you really just need to, I mean, just pay attention to that. You're not gonna find any kind of, I don't even know what to say on it anymore. I'm not even gonna talk about it anymore. It sounds like a broken record, but that's where it's at for me. I wish I could point people to those channels. I really do. But I can't now. Because I can't advocate for somebody that thinks they know everything like that. And nobody else has any of the answer. I just can't do it. So, that's where everything's at, guys. Sorry for the negative ending to this video, but that's just what it is, okay? And I'm giving you guys, I'm saying all this because, you know, I don't have to tell myself this, because I'm speaking it to you guys. There's a reason. I want you guys to see it for yourself. And I'm not just saying about one channel creator either. I'm not picking nothing out personally on anybody right now. This is across our whole genre. I'm seeing a lot of people do this, saying they're the only ones that has the answers. You know, if you come out and say, yes, I got the best research around, I'm showing you this, I'm showing you that, you're not going to see this research anywhere else. But they're not saying, those kinds of people are not saying that they have the only answers. That's not what they're saying. They're saying, I got really good stuff and you're not going to find this research anywhere else but right here. That's what they're saying. But when somebody blatantly just comes out and says, I'm the only one that knows the answer to everything that's going on, you need to walk away from that channel. I'm just saying. It ain't just one, like I said, it ain't one channel. Hopefully they'll turn around and come back the way that they used to be. But oh, really? You lost a dog? That sucks. I'm sorry, Christy. That's horrible. Back at you, Carol. Yeah, dogs are family a lot of times, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, Christy. That really sucks, you know? Hey, Jason, what's up? Arizona, what's up? Alright, guys, I am going to go ahead and get off here. I didn't want this thing to be that long, but there it is. Okay? So anyway, guys, check everything out. My PayPal link is in the, well, I think I might have it here. Hold on a minute. Well, that's my wife's eBay channel. You could hit that up if you want. But my PayPal is in the description if you guys want to do that. That's cool. I appreciate all of it, and I definitely will be, you know, giving everybody a shout out on that, like I have been already. I'll continue to do that. Anybody that feels like they want to donate, You know, I will always give you guys a shout out on that. So, it's not it's not expected. It's not required or anything like that. I'm not going to be, oh, where's Baby Yoda? Hold on a minute, Cosmo. I'm going to hook you up, buddy. See if I can't find that pic. You keep asking me about him. Love it. You guys know I had to take that off there, right? You know why? People were getting scared. I don't know why it was scaring them, but it was. Cosmo, I'll hook you up next video, okay? I'll get it set up. I'm not going to go searching through my my database or my Google Photos for that yet. But I'll hook you up in the next video, okay? I'll have it out here for you. So, yeah, it was scaring them. Yeah, I know. I don't want to scare anybody. It's not really a link, guys. I made that picture. Believe it or not. Yeah, I used some editing software and was able to put the Wages World logo in his hands, and I thought it was pretty cool. But some people were scared, so I don't want anybody to be scared. Hey, Exile, what's going on, J-Man? Back at you, man. We're doing okay. Getting ready to get off here. Hey, Bear, River Rain. Would you... So, I am going to go ahead and get off here, guys. Sorry anybody just now popping in. I apologize, but I got to get off here. So, God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this cool.